Hi, I'm Fariyana and I work as the recruitment coordinator at Bespoke Careers. I look after all of the applications, so I'm the initial kind of gatekeeper of applications before the consultants see it. So I spend all day looking at beautiful portfolios and some not so beautiful portfolios, and we're looking forward to talking about some today.
My name's Sana. I am a multidisciplinary designer and content creator. I'm currently working as a Part 2 architectural assistant at Fathom Architects, and I help basically make content for architecture students to be more holistic with their careers.
I'm Karen Fugle. I'm a leadership coach and founder of Sleeping Giant Consulting. I work with mid to senior level architects on their leadership capabilities. I've had about 30 years in the construction industry, and I've had a few career transitions in that time. Before I was a coach, I was a CAD BIM consultant. I work a lot with people who are in career transition as well, and so I've seen a lot of CVs and portfolios in my time.
Okay, so we're starting with Amelia's beautiful portfolio. She is a newly qualified Part 2. She begins with this lovely illustration. What do you guys think?
It is. It just pulls you in, doesn't it? There's so much in there that I just want to dwell on that. Is this the cover that we're looking at? Yeah, I just want to dwell on this for a while and go into that bit of detail that she's got in there. It's fantastic. Yeah. So straight away I'm thinking, okay, we've got lots of nice visuals in here. That's what I'm expecting straight away.
Not a lot of text.
Mm-hmm. There isn't. The text that she's got there is quite small, and I don't know whether I'd need to kind of zoom in to actually read it. It would be quite nice to give that more of an impact, I think, some of that text, and to have a bit more of a narrative about what we're actually looking at. What was her involvement in these projects, you know?
So sorry, I should have pointed out that this is all academic work. So Amelia hasn't actually had any professional experience yet.
Well, in saying that, it's actually a beautiful looking portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, the visualizations are beautiful. And I would, do we need to know if she's 100% doing these visualizations herself, or is there...
We don't feel like there's clarity. You think within the portfolio there should be more clarity in, I did this using X software, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in that. What do you think,
Yeah, I
Sana?
agree. Yeah, I think it just adds a bit of context as well. And then again, it kind of reiterates those skills that you have. So it's always good to put it in.
I think employers are also looking for working drawings. It's not always about the finished article and the finished visualization and a wonderful site plan and whatever. I want to see that you can think through a series, of designs or have thoughts. I want to see that kind of action. So I'm not worried about kind of having messy drawings in there as well.
I feel like, I guess, with Amelia, she's shown some hand drawings, but it's quite a polished. She doesn't really show her journey.
Yeah, there's no journey there. But, even she is saying, look, my visualization is key here. And I think she possibly needs to tone that down on some pages and pull back up the other sketches that she's got, and let us see some of that detail, let us see some of that sketch work, which, also looks really fabulous. So
just to end, I think we should go back to the cover, because it's the first thing for me going through 120 portfolios a day. That first couple of images makes all the difference in terms of, so I maybe I would have looked at her CV and thought, no experience, will we be able to help? But I'll open the portfolio and be like, this person has something really special, which stands out. And definitely, I feel like this image shows that.
I'm looking down here because I'm kind of going, is her name actually on it? And I know that's a really simple thing, but if your portfolio is, separate from your CV, I'm kind of going, is there a name on there?
Catch.
The text is so tiny. I do think that she can have that visual, but make more impact of that text perhaps and get her name in there as well.
In my portfolio, I tend to try and have work that kind of links to each other. And so ensuring that there's kind of like a narrative for each page, and it all tells a story, I think is really important. I see glimpses of that in this portfolio as well. And I see how, if kind of structured a bit differently, or like Karen said, if you add that context through text, then it can kind of start to make sense and you see that development and growth. So it's not always about having the sort of like final renders and making it look pretty. Like it's definitely including the technical work or the sketches or the model making and like showing those range of skills, but in a sort of like growth development way.
This is another beautiful portfolio by Nazuk Badborta, who is a 2-year post-part 2 qualified architect. And it is all academic work within this portfolio. She does have a professional portfolio, but most of the projects are NDA. So we've got her academic, but again, looking at kind of what we're looking at, I think it's interesting continuing with someone that is showing just their academic, because she's portraying it in a quite different way to Amelia.
I like the fonts. I like the clarity that she's showing there. It's very simple. It's very neat. Yeah, we can kind of see her storyline by the contents page already, but it's not in order. We can sort of see that it goes from 2021 and then it goes to 2022. So I do wonder why she's put not her latest work at the front of her portfolio. Does it matter or not? Don't know. We'll see.
I think she's, from kind of looking at she's done it so that she's done her kind of foundation degree earlier. So she's done it, her earliest work first, her latest work first, sorry. So her master's work at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it is quite nice when you start on your extremely most latest work and then almost work backwards.
Yeah.
Just because you're then kind of like showing the most punchy stuff, the stuff that's kind of in your mind the clearest too. But I feel like lots of people give different advices as to how you should kind of organize it chronologically or the other way around or whatever it is. So
what would you say, Karen?
Yeah, I'm not so interested in chronological. I'm more about, okay, I want to see some priority in the way that you display it. And if it's that these are the showcase projects that I want to give you first, these are the top ones I want to, and then okay, and here's some others after that kind of thing. Select, but I do want to kind of, especially if your CV's long, I want to see selected works. I want to see the punchy ones at the top. And that may be ones that you learnt the most from or ones you loved or, your best work. But there's got to be a mix in there. Chronologically, it may not, may not show that. So
for me, it's about putting your best work first. Because not necessarily the decision maker will be looking at your portfolio at the beginning of your kind of search for a new role. It will be someone that's a gatekeeper that's looking through hundreds. So you want to catch their attention in the first few images, I think. And then someone that will filter it down, and they'll probably only look at 3 portfolios to make a decision on whether they're going to employ you or not. They'll be more likely to look at a more extended portfolio, more in depth.
So these images are really quite punchy, which is really nice. But I'm getting the sense, even just in these 2 pages, that I'm just seeing the same thing from a different angle. So there's quite a lot of the same material here. And I think people tend to err on the editing side. They want to put value in, so they're piling every image in there. Sometimes it's best to kind of weed it out a bit and just have a few images. But I do like the layout.
Yeah, I think it's really clear and clean and just consistent as well, which I quite like, because then you almost just know what to expect from each project in a way, I guess. But this one in particular is really nice visually. It has sort of like illustrative elements, but it's showing that development and process of the project itself, and it's not just image everywhere, which is nice.
Even that question, what is our process? You're speaking to me when you say a question like that. I'm involved. I'm going, what is the process? Show me what it is. It's a nice way to link in people into the.
I guess it shows how you work as a person. You were saying about kind of showing your individuality and what you're going to bring, I guess. This shows it quite clearly.
Okay, so in the little bit of text that I'm reading here, the one word that I've got is we. And what I want more of people is less of the we, but more emphasis on I. I want to see some ownership in what you're doing. You know, in my role on this project, I did this, and as a team, we did this, but I want the ownership there of this is my work and this is my strengths and I love this about it. That's what I want to come through.
It's interesting because I feel like people look at their portfolio as kind of a professional document. So it's easy to fall into that trap of being like a third person and making it like a booklet. I want it to be an advertisement showcasing you as a person. And I think that is probably lost in trying to be professional.
It is sometimes. And there is, I don't know if you've heard of the trust quotient. It's this little formula about trust, which is something like trust equals credibility plus reliability plus intimacy underpinned by self-awareness. Straight away, we're looking at CVs like this. We're going, okay, you're credible. We're getting that across straight away. And that gives somebody who's reviewing it confidence in your abilities. Fantastic. But what we tend to be missing is the intimacy factor and kind of going, who are you as a person? What do you love? Where's the enjoyment? What do you find most interesting in that project? I want to know that you can share that some of that information with me and bring me on the story of it. That's the bit, you know, especially with technical portfolios and CVs, we miss the intimacy factor there and the trust quotient. And that's what we want. You want the person reviewing to trust you. Go, yeah, let's get that person in. It's about more, and that self-awareness is not being totally self-absorbed in yourself, because too much of that and you're not paying any attention to anybody else. There's a line. So it's about also caring and giving and sharing with other people. And this is what we're doing here. We're giving information and we're sharing with other people kind of thing. And with the intimacy, it's the fact that you're feeling safe to give an environment. And, you know, I want a portfolio that shows the whole person. I want to get an image of who you are, you know, a bit before I meet you. I want to go, yeah, this person sounds like us, sounds like they'll fit into our culture. I can't get that from bullet points, or I can't get that from, you know, talking about we. I can't get that, you know, from just a description of the project and not about what you got out of it or what strengths you put into it or what you learned from it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the common mistake students often make, or the common thing that they're advised to do, is to have at like the least amount of text as possible, so that, you know, they're thinking about when an employer goes through your portfolio, they're only going to see the images, they don't have enough time. But like Karen said, like the text is really important too, because you're not there to explain the projects in your portfolio. So you kind of have to do that through the text as well, and tell that story.
From a recruiter's point of view, when we're working with clients, we do like to give them a sample portfolio, as opposed to when we ask our candidates to go and to the interviews, they take a extended portfolio where they can talk more in depth. So it kind of moves quite nicely on from what we were saying in terms of you want to have the text and have the information about each project. But from our perspective, when it's going to someone that, again, is looking at maybe 10, 15 portfolios that we're sending at the same time, they want to be able to get an idea of their capabilities, not so much the personality at that stage. You would probably disagree, but kind of the nature of our job is kind of, we're trying to make the job a little bit easier for our employer. So we're doing the due diligence beforehand of, is this person capable, and putting the portfolio in front of them. So length is quite important. We say kind of between, I'd say 16, and I don't know why I chose 16 particularly, but it's a conversation that we always have. 16 feels like a good number of where our clients maybe don't lose interest, and it should be enough. It should be a snapshot. It's not necessarily a chronological order of all of the work you've ever done in your whole life. So yeah, we kind of say, I mean, this is 31, and I think they really showcase nicely the process of getting to kind of a final concept, or kind of the final outcome of that design. But maybe kind of some of the pages could be omitted for an initial review.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just having an initial review, you're going to be time poor. You're going to be flicking through things fairly quickly. You want to get a good initial idea of whether to take it any further. So it's quite important to prioritize your work in that respect, and just show a variety of it in that time frame. But you want to make people go, oh, I want to see more. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's that element of being able to take an extended portfolio to an interview. You've caught the person's attention with the sample portfolio. So it's a nice way of surprising them with a bit more information.
So it's not just the same thing that they've already seen as well.
Mm. Yeah, and what I'm seeing here now in this group here with the app, there's quite a lot of information here, that definitely wouldn't all go in a
sample portfolio.
A sample portfolio, as you say. Some of that could come out, definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Also, going back to the point of having your best work first, do you feel like this portfolio has done that?
It's not necessarily the best work first. It's the work that you want to tell the stories about. And it may not be your best work, but it may be work that taught you the best lesson. It may be the work that you'd say, actually, in hindsight, I would change this totally and do it differently. It may be the best collaborative work that you've done. There may be different reasons, but they might be your best stories that you can tell about the work. I just like you come out, you've just gone past the kind of, it's a damn skyscraper kind of thing. And it's just little touches like up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's little touches like that where you say, and the humor in the title, it is giving us some personality, which is really nice. And just the variety of the sketches and the visuals that we've got here is fantastic.
It's interesting how actually your text can make your portfolio more interactive, like you say. Like the headings, the questions, what's the process. You're right, it does. It makes it a lot more interesting and gives you a sense of who they are. I'd never really thought of it like that, actually. So this is Valentina Condria's portfolio, one of my all-time favorites. I remember opening this and thinking that has just made my day so much better, because I would print this picture off in A1 and hang it in my house. Valentina, if you want to let me do that, that'd be great.
No, it does. It looks like a book. I love the image. I love the font. I love her name at the top. And I look at the date there and I think, gosh, okay, this is a year. This is a year. So I'm quite intrigued. A star for the cover, I think. Yeah.
So I should add, Valentina is post part 3. I know you like a contents page, Karen.
Well, see, the contents page is really there just to give me a flavour of what's coming. And if I can look at that straight away and I can go, okay, what kind of projects has she got in here? Food hub, fabric chapel, bespoke large development. I'm getting the sense that there's a wide variety of projects, and that's what I want to see. So it is drawing me in. And it's not disappointing when we go into it either, is it? Really, really nice layout, really nice visuals. I do wonder about the visuals, whether they are all her work, whether they are, some of them are hand-painted, what the medium she's using. This one looks a part photographic in the tree. It's like, can she explain that? That would be really nice to understand. She's got some smaller images there. It might be worth blowing one of those up, not necessarily having both, but blowing one of those up so we can actually get into some of that detail.
Yeah, I think especially when it's a plan or a drawing, it's really helpful when you almost just zoom in, even if it's after the fact, zoom in on like a circle or a square of the details that you want to show, especially just so it's a bit more clearer. But I think so far we're only about a few pages in, but so far you can already see the structure is really nice, and the consistency with the illustrations are really cool too. So it's already feeling very cohesive in that sense.
I'm going to have to get a magnifying glass out to read that text, though. I'd have to change my glasses. There is room there to up that text and to draw me into what those 3 images on the left are. So I think she's kind of missing the trick there. There's more impact in that text that she can have. And this is what Sana was saying before, we possibly don't need 4 of those details in there, but can we have more of 1 or 2 of them? That would be fantastic, yeah.
I think what's really lovely, though, saying that as well, I think sometimes people are scared of white space, but here it works nicely as well because, like you say, maybe if she'd not done 3 images, done 1, but left still that white space, it still draws you in.
Yeah. I think that's something that I'm always saying. Can we have some more white space in your portfolio that means just as much? And, when you're looking at these, it's so important to get that consistency on every page with the white space too. Nice use of a model image in there as well, some models, which is great. And she's up the text, the fonts on there, which is fantastic. It's giving much more power to it. I think it's a really strong portfolio, actually, and she should be proud of it. I want to know more about those images and what she's used and how she's created, because it's such a big factor in there. Yeah.
Drew us in with page 1. So this portfolio is slightly different. We're looking at a BIM technologist portfolio, and it's done by Spacey Bondarenko. I think this is really interesting to look at a BIM portfolio because from my perspective, very few BIM people usually have a well thought out portfolio because it's quite technical. So a lot of the times I will get a file with 100 different technical drawings and I'll have to compile them and put them together. But I particularly like the way Spacey has made BIM look quite interesting. Karen, I know that it's your background, so you could probably delve in more.
As an ex-BIM consultant, I'm like, yay for the BIM managers, because I think they're undervalued, unappreciated. They have tough jobs. So I'm going to champion all the female BIM managers out there and go, bravo for sticking at that. So yeah, this is really nice to see a portfolio that is showing these graphics in it, definitely. And we've got a really nice mix of images in there, haven't we, Sana? Yeah. There is a lot of bullet points that I'm noticing, though. And again, it's what we're getting across here is a lot of technical ability. We're getting across the credibility. We can see that you know your stuff. We can see by the bullet point list that you've got the credentials, that you know what you're doing. We can see that in the images. But I want the intimacy. I want half of those bullet points turned into a paragraph that said, okay, this is what I really love doing these images, or, is it doing the clash detection? I don't know which parts you love and which parts are just kind of, the bread and butter of your work. So pull that out, pull out your strengths. We want to know about it. Put more I in there. This is what I love doing,
I think also going back to the point about the white space, having that text on top of the images sometimes can get a bit distracting and make it difficult to read. So just, I guess, be wary of that, I suppose. But I mean, it's all great work. It's not like there needs to be anything, like there doesn't need to be any editing or taking away. I think it's just more of a case of, restructuring that text and organizing the portfolio so that it's easy to read visually.
I agree. It's packed. There's quite a lot packed in here. And is this a sample? It is a sample, but still, it could be spread over another couple of pages just to get some more white space in there. And
so this portfolio is 4 pages. So, like you say, they could have spread actually all of these images over 10.
I think they would have had more impact if they were spread out a bit. Definitely. Yeah,
really good point.
there's such a wide variety of images in here that it's fantastic. And I don't know, is it a model down the bottom? I'm not quite sure if that is. But just the different techniques used, the different visualizations, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Just get that intimacy bit in there, get me knowing who you are rather than just the bullet points. Be spot on.
Thank you so much for everyone that gave us permission to use their portfolios. Like we said, it's about amplifying the voices of females within the architecture industry, and kind of that takes me nicely on to thanking you, Karen, for your time today and your expert knowledge, and hopefully everyone will have gained some really lovely insights of how to portray yourself within a portfolio. And Sana, of course, thank you so much, our expert of the day. Thank you for all your help today and also your insight, and hopefully it will help the audiences.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Sweet.